Good evening. Welcome to my channel. My name is Mike J. And today I want to make a video on a video that's probably made quite often. Generally they're made by salespeople or people who work in the car industry that don't fully tell the whole story or to disclose things that could possibly affect their income on buying a new car. And this video I want to make is 5 things to know before buying a new car. This video only pertains to brand new car purchases. Have some knowledge before going to the dealership. Use this information at your discretion. Not all situations are going to be the same. This is a good basic guideline to follow in purchasing a new vehicle. Believe me, you'll save yourself a lot of money and a lot of time if you do your homework before you head off to the dealership to buy that brand new car. So let's get started. Number 1, price. Go online, look for the best price. Generally, discounts and rebates are listed on the internet. Talk to an internet sales department representative to see what rebates you may or may not qualify. Never pay market adjustment markup. What market adjustment markup is let's say there's a particular car that everybody wants and it's basically supply and demand, where they know they're not going to have a problem selling the vehicle, so they have the right, or they feel like they have the right, to mark it up to whatever they want. And evidently in the state of Arizona, there is no law against marking up a vehicle over the MSRP. If you're willing to pay for it, then they could sell it at that price. So avoid those cars. Wait till the popularity goes down on those vehicles. When they go back down to normal prices, if you still wish to buy one of those specialty vehicles, go right ahead. But just never ever pay over the MSRP on a brand new vehicle. Number 2, your trade-in. If you have a trade-in, look online at kbb.com, kellybluebook.com, to get a trade, retail, private party sale price on your vehicle that you're trading in. Know what your vehicle is worth. Most people have no clue and no idea of what their car is worth. They head off to the dealership and they just expect that, hey, that's what my car is worth, and they just go ahead and take it. So always know what your car is worth before you go into the dealership. And we have number 3, negative equity. This is probably the worst thing that pops up when buying a new vehicle, is your negative equity. A lot of times this either makes or break a deal due to the fact that you have to finance so much more money than the agreed upon price of the new vehicle purchase. Negative equity basically is you owe more on your car than it's worth. Well, how does that happen? Well, because a lot of times what happened is the car that you are trading in, the car that you had before that, you carried over some negative equity. So what happens is that when you do that, you're just adding the remainder of the loan that was negative onto the next car and passing it on to the next car, and so on and so forth. Or you finance way more than the MSRP, or you have a very high interest rate than the normal interest rate. Or it could be all of the above. Everybody's situation is different. But if you do have some negative equity, what you want to do is you generally want to either put some money down to offset some of that negative equity. Sometimes you would see $5,000, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 upside down with some people. And what they've done is they've probably been trading one car to the next, and what will eventually happen is all that's going to catch up to you at the end, where you will not be able to get rid of that car unless you put a lot of money down. So generally, if you're like a few $1,000s upside down on your vehicle, that shouldn't be a problem getting it approved or getting it financed. And another thing is if you carry on too much negative equity, well beyond the MSRP, it's kind of harder to get a loan for it. A lot of banks will not want to loan money on a vehicle carrying that much negative equity. And it's always smart if you can always try to put some money down to offset some of that negative equity. And the fourth thing that we have is extras. Dealer ads, addendum, sticker prices, extra stuff that they put on the vehicle to try to make extra profit on the vehicle. And a lot of that stuff, can be sold through the finance department when you go into their room to sign papers, or some of the stuff could already be on the car on the MSRP. Right next to it is called the addendum, where they added another strip price that's not very thick, off to the side of the MSRP. And what they do is they'll list things on there that they put on the car. Most of the stuff that they do there, like pinstriping, desert protection package, vehicle VIN etching, those kind of things that they will put on there to try to make extra money. But let's go down this list of these 5 things that I have as far as extras goes. Extended warranty. Well, those can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500, depending on the length of the coverage you want and the deductible you want per visit, per breakdown. Now, if you finance a car, let's say for 6 years, and you intend to keep the car, more than likely your car is going to be out of warranty. Now, if you do keep the car a long time, it's really a good thing to buy an extended warranty on the vehicle to save you future headaches and spending money fixing a car when it does break. But, for those that only keep cars 2 years, 3 years, your factory warranty well covers the car that it needs to. There is really no need to add an extra $1,500 to $2,000 onto the price of the car and finance it through the bank. And a lot of times what happens is that even if you don't buy the extended warranty, the manufacturer, I'm using an example, let's just say GM, well, before your basic warranty runs out, what they'll do is they're going to send you notices, send you emails to get you to purchase an extended warranty at that time. And generally, it's going to be the same price as if you would have bought it when the car was new. Because what happened is that car is still under a certain amount of mileage and they will cover it. And what it does is that it will save you from not spending the money now. And if you do buy it, you buy it later. So therefore, you don't have to fit it into your financing. Now, desert protection package. Well, we live here in Arizona. The sun beats on the car. I personally, I never buy it because it's like $1,500. And basically what they do is they run your car through a cloth kind of machine that looks like a cloth car wash. And what it does is it just waxes the whole entire car. It applies some kind of a wax. I mean, those things are called a lot of things, like auto butler. There's various names that they call those waxing protection on the car. But what they do is generally, for 3 years, 2 years, it depends on the package you pick. Of course, the prices vary. What they'll do is every 6 months, you get to bring the car in and they get to reapply the wax onto the car. Vehicle VIN etching, what that does is that's generally around $295, $395, under $500. What they'll do is they'll etch every single piece of glass on your car with the vehicle VIN number. And what that does is that the company that sponsors all that, if the car ever gets stolen or if the car ever gets totaled and is claimed and deemed a total loss, what that company will do is they'll pay a certain amount of the money towards your deductible to replace your car. So those a lot of times are already done to the car as it's sitting on the dealership's lot. But it's really weird because I've worked at dealerships where they have not etched the cars, but yet they've already charged the car for the etching. you know, these are all extras. You don't have to buy them. You know, when you go to finance, you know, they're going to say, well, you know, we can't get your loan done, or your loan is hard to get done. You know, if you buy these things, you know, we get your loan done. That's a bunch of crap, because you can decline these things at the dealership when you're sitting to sign the paperwork. This is all extra profit. And what happens is the finance manager, the finance guy that does all your paperwork, he makes money off of this stuff. Salesmen don't make anything off of it. The finance guy makes the money off of it. And lease, but the lease that you should buy, though, is gap insurance, okay? And when I was selling cars, I would tell people, you know, they would decline everything that, you know, we would try to sell them, but they would always take gap. Well, as referring back to the negative equity situation, when you finance a car, what happens is you're financing a lot more money than it's worth. And even though you don't have negative equity, by the time you add tax, license, and all that fees that goes onto that car, you know, your loan becomes, you know, right back at the MSRP or a little bit above the MSRP price. And if you don't put any money down, your financing you could be financing 125% over the MSRP of the car. So what happens if your car gets into an accident, your car gets stolen, something happens to the car where it's a total loss? Yeah, I have insurance. Great. Full coverage. Great. You pay your $500 or $500 or $1,000 deductible, whatever you might carry, and your insurance company will pay off the car, right? So you figure, okay, I'm all set. Well, the thing is, they're only paying off the value of the car at the time of the loss. So your car will always devalue a lot quicker than you're going to ever pay it off. So what will happen is that negative amount that you owe, the amount that you owe, and the amount that the car is really worth that the insurance company is going to pay off, well, that's going to be a negative, and you're going to have to come up with the money to take care of that. Well, what gap insurance does is that it will pay off the difference of the vehicle at the time of the loss, up to $50,000 on most of these gap insurance policies. So these are all extras. Gap is probably one that I 100% recommend if you are financing the car. And all the others, it's if you want to have it done, great. If you don't, you're not buying to it to have to buy these things just to buy the car. If the dealership say, no, you have to buy these things, walk away, go to another dealership. There's many dealerships that will sell you a car that will not add these things onto the vehicle. Let's get on to the fifth and last thing. Finance. Okay. Well, you know, please, 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 please know your credit score before you go into the dealership. That is the most important thing. Most people do not know what their credit looks like. They have no clue what their credit looks like. What you can do is you can look online. You can get a free credit report yearly, and you're entitled to it. And what you do is you know where you stand before you walk into the dealership. You know, and the best thing that I would say is if you belong to a credit union, check your credit union to see what kind of rates they offer, because credit unions are the best. It's really hard to beat a credit union rate. I belong to a credit union myself. One of my cars is financed through a credit union, and I got a really great rate. Awesome rate. And a lot of times, well, how do you join the credit union, people ask. You know, because a lot of times what happens is people who do belong to credit unions, most majority of the people that belong to credit unions either work in an industry where the credit union caters to the employees of that corporation or company. And what happened is, what dealerships have done today is that they've even joined credit unions for customers so that they can get the new car financed through the dealership, because sometimes they offer a better rate than a local bank versus like GMAC, Ford. Sometimes they have a higher rate than a local bank, but you can never beat a credit union rate. And the thing is, a lot of people wonder, well, how do you join? Well, a lot of credit unions, believe it or not, for $50, you can sign up with them, and they'll open up a checking account, an account for you, and you can apply for your loan. And credit unions don't really care so much about a good ISIC score like 700, 720. You know, a lot of times to get those rates that they give you, if you go through a local bank or the dealership takes care of the financing for you, you know, you'll probably need close to a 700 ISIC score to get those low rates. Credit unions look at the whole picture and not just so much just the interest rate in itself. So check out credit unions in your area, and generally they're really easy to join, and it's very little money that you have to open up an account with. Well, these are the 5 things that I've covered that is a good rule of thumb to follow. Okay. The last thing I want to put in here that I kind of left out is that people will say, well, what should I expect payments to be? This is a good rule of thumb to follow. If you got good credit, okay, very good credit, you know, you're probably going to be looking at about 5% interest rate. Let's just say 4.5, 5% interest rate. You're probably looking at about $16 per every $1,000 you borrow from the bank. Okay. And if your credit score isn't very low, isn't very high, you know, it's kind of like right in between, you know, it's not bad, it's not good, you know, kind of average. You're probably going to expect anywhere from $18 to $20 per every 1,000 you finance. And of course, this is based on 72 months financing, which is 6 years. Okay. A lot of dealerships today are focusing a lot on 84-month financing, which is 7 years. And when 72 months came out, it was like, you know, like, wow, you know, you never thought that people would need to finance a car for more than 6 years. Well, obviously, car prices have gone up. So 7 years is very, very normal that car dealerships want to push. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the interest rate, when you move up to an 84-month, is going to be higher than a 72-month loan. It's going to probably go up 1% to 1.5% just to get the extra year to pay the car off. And quite frankly, most cars aren't going to last 8 years. So you'll still be paying on it when you want to get out of it. And a lot of times what happens is that people choose to go longer, but they can pay off the car a lot quicker, which you can do, okay? But a lot of people, what they'll do is, well, I don't want to go that long. Well, I want to go 4 years, 48 months, or 5 years, 60 months. And then all of a sudden they've got this payment that they were comfortable with at the time. And then all of a sudden they lose their job or something happens, pay cut, and their income goes down, but yet you are still going to have to make those payments. So if you think that you can make more payments every month, but you're not sure, you can go longer term. It's probably something you want to do just to be on the safe side. Because once you choose your term, 36 months, 48 months, 60 months, those are the length of time that you have to pay on the loan. You can't change that unless you, of course, refinance the car. So these are the 5 things, and I hope that you find them useful. And I hope you guys get that brand new car. Please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification bell for more new car content and stuff that I will be putting out. Thanks for watching. Thanks.